Well, hey, everybody, welcome back to the Be That Lawyer with Fretzin podcast. We are here for your amusement and pleasure and education twice a week, every week, to help you to be that lawyer, someone who's confident, organized, and a skilled rainmaker. Part of what I try to do is bring on guests that are going to delight you and really give you insights that you've never had before. And today is a special one. This is a gentleman who I've admired from afar. I've kind of been observing. By the way, the only person I ever knew that wrote out the entire search of his business. And I don't know if you named your company, RJon, after how to manage a law firm so that you would, because that's what people would type into Google. But if that's what you did, that's freaking brilliant.
Well, practical and pragmatic outperforms clever every time.
Yeah. So I can come up with a name like Fretzin Inc. Exactly. No one's searching. Say again?
I was just saying how to manage a small law firm. It says what it is what it says. It leaves nothing to mystery.
Yeah. So should I rename my business from Fretzin Inc. to I Suck at Business Development, Somebody Please Help Me? Is that the new name?
Well, if you say that, then they might think that you suck at business development.
Oh,
and we know that's not true.
All right. So, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It could be called The Guy Who Helps Lawyers Develop More Business for Their Law Firms. That would be a long name.
Okay. Well, you know what? We're gonna run that by my team.
For years, I had the email address was always, name at howtomanageasmalllawfirm.com. And I think we had 40 or 50 employees, and they basically staged a coup years ago and demanded a different email address because it was too complicated.
Yeah.
So I went out and I bought howtomanage.com also, just so I could have a shorter email address.
Yes. I love it. Well, we have to make adjustments. That's a part of it. So, hey, everybody, as we jump in and we're going to get to know RJon real well today on the show. You've probably heard of him in some way, shape, or form, or you've actually worked with him. But let's start off with a quote of the show, which we love to do, which is, if you do not change direction, you may end up where you're heading. That's a Lao Tzu quote. And why'd you submit that? I'm interested in your take on that quote.
I mean, I think it's self-explanatory and obvious, but it's one of those things that people, they just don't stop and think about it, right?
Yeah.
You wake up and you do the same thing day after day, week after week, year after year, and you wake up 5, 10, 20 years into your career, and you wind up exactly where you should have known you were going to wind up. It's very, very predictable, right? The business of running a law firm, there's all these people out there who want to give you their 17-point plan of how to. Law firms are very simple businesses to run, right? And this breaks the heart of so many struggling law firm owners who want to say that the reason my law firm is struggling is because it's so complicated. I'm sorry to break it to you. It's not complicated. Law firms are very simple businesses to run, and the results are very predictable, good and bad. And if you don't stop heading in the same direction, you're going to wind up where you're going to wind up.
Yeah. It's predictable where you're going to wind up. Nothing changes.
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
That's one of the big lies that struggling law firm owners love to hide behind, because things are changing, right? Your children are getting older. Your life is passing you by. The world keeps turning. The market is changing. Client tastes are changing. Client preferences are changing. Today, everything that's working in your marketing today could stop working tomorrow. All it takes is one celebrity to do one stupid thing that gets all over the zeitgeist. And now that's all that everyone's talking about. And nothing that you were doing that was working before is working tomorrow. I've been around doing this since 1999. I've lost count of how many apocalyptic shakeups in the legal industry where 1 minute, all of this stuff works in your marketing, and boom, Google decides to change their algorithm. Does anyone remember Penguin?
No.
Sorry?
No.
You don't?
I don't know Penguin. I mean, I know of penguins. They're great at the zoo.
Penguin was the apocalypse of 2010, where half of the digital online marketers literally went out of business overnight when Google changed their algorithm and nothing worked.
Okay. See, I didn't know about that.
I have a friend who was in that business, and he literally called all his clients and said, I'm really sorry. I can no longer help you. Nothing that I know how to do works anymore.
Wow.
And he got sued over it. He's like,
oh boy,
I'm telling you the truth. Other marketers are continuing to take money from their clients and blow smoke up their ass, even though the whole landscape has changed. Anyway,
we digress. We digress. But
we digress.
We're going to take a deeper dive into helping lawyers, live their best lawyer life. But let's go back and hear a little bit about your background. And for those listening, RJon Robins, co-founder of How to Manage a Small Law Firm. Give us the Reader's Digest version for those who know what Reader's Digest was.
I've been there. I've done that. I've done it all. I've been doing it. I mean, let's talk about what your audience wants to know about. How can we help them grow their law firm? How can we help them make more money? How can we help them, get their law firm to work for them? And then if you really want me to tell my story, I'll indulge and tell my story. I started off and then I did this and then I did that. Who cares? You want to know what I can do for you, right? You want to know what me and my team can do for you. If you really want me to tell my story, I will. But please, can we do that?
Well, it's not a story. It's like, are you a lawyer? I think you're a lawyer, all right? So that's important for some people.
Okay.
Other people
I went to law school. I learned all the same things in law school that everyone in your audience learned in law school about the business of running a law firm, which is nothing. In fact, if they taught us just nothing in law school about the business of running a law firm, it would have been so much better, because at least we would have known that we didn't know anything about the business of running a law firm. But instead, what they teach us in law school is they tell us, just be a good lawyer and everything else will just magically take care of itself. And this is because the law schools are principally endowed and funded by big law firms, and big law firms need, grist for the mill, right? And they need worker bees. Right? And they don't want their associates to know anything about the business of running a law firm. And they don't want their associates to know anything about rainmaking and generating business, because the big law firms know that if you have an empowered associate who can generate their own business and knows how to run the business of a law firm, why the hell do you need to go and work 2,000 hours a year working for a big law firm? So I graduated from law school. I graduated from law school. I worked for a federal bankruptcy judge. I opened my own law firm, and bam, I fell on my face. Why did I fall on my face? I fell on my face because I didn't know anything about the business of running a law firm. I didn't know about marketing law firm. I didn't know about sales. I didn't know about how to hire, train, manage, make a profit with staff. I didn't know about how to document processes and systems and procedures so that the business could so the systems could do the work instead of just doing the work by sweat alone. I didn't know anything about financial controls. I didn't know anything about pricing strategies. I didn't know anything about the business of running a law firm. And very predictably, going back to the quote we talked about at the top of the show, my law firm was a disaster. It was not a successful law firm. There have been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of million and multi-million dollar and multi-million dollar law firms that I have had a hand in building, and thousands that my team has had a hand in building over the past 10 plus years that we started How to Manage a Small Law Firm. But me, myself, personally, RJon Robins, I never had a successful law firm. I am the cautionary tale. I am the one who tells you, don't do what I did when I started and ran my own law firm.
Right. So how do you go from that to not only, building this massive business that you have, but then also like coaching law firms all over the country, all over the world to be successful? So I discovered that the Florida bar had at the time, and unfortunately they no longer have it, but at the time the Florida bar had the law office management assistance service. And the law office management assistance service was created back in 1980 when the Florida bar realized that they were prosecuting more lawyers for bar grievances that were caused by law firm management problems than anything else. 54% of the bar grievances that get filed nationally, and not coincidentally, 54% of the malpractice actions too, trace back to an avoidable law firm management problem.
Marketing problems lead to bar grievances. Sales problems lead to bar grievances. And I don't mean because they violate the bar rules when it comes to marketing. I'm talking about you turn the marketing on, you turn the marketing off. You turn the marketing on, you turn the marketing off. You turn the marketing on, then you turn the marketing off, then you're broke. Then some freaking lunatic walks in the door with a case you've got no business touching, and they're flying the lunatic flag all over the place, but you're desperate for cash flow because you turned the marketing off 6 months ago. And now you take the case, fast forward, predictably, you wind up with a bar grievance. This is predictable stuff. Law firms are simple businesses to run. I understand that there's a whole industry of people who want you to believe that they're complicated and they're hard and they've got these complicated multi-step plans. They're very simple. There's only 7 main parts of every successful law firm. There's only 7 main parts of every unsuccessful law firm. There's no secret. Anyway, I'm calling the Florida bar for help, and I'm just egregiously abusing my privileges of access to this free resource. I mean, just shamelessly calling them for help. And I'm describing the problems that I'm having. And they're telling me, not in these exact words, but essentially what they're saying is, yeah, what did you expect? And don't worry, no one's going to name this problem after you, right? These are very predictable problems with very predictable causes, with very predictable solutions. And they told me what to do, and I did it, and things got better. And then I called again and I said, here's my next one. And they told me what to do. And I did it and things got better. And eventually, long story short, I ended up getting recruited by that department. And I became the first and still today, the only lawyer in the history of the state of Florida, which is the 4th largest state bar in the country, to serve as a full-time small law firm management advisor with the Florida Bar Law Office Management Assistance Service, which is where I get my big claim to fame that I have helped more lawyers. Me personally, and I don't like talking about me personally because my team is amazing. I have 100 amazing full-time employees. We got 40 small law firm management advisors who really make me look like a rock star every day. And I get way too much credit for the amazing work that they do with the 500 law firms that we manage. But me personally, even before I started How to Manage a Small Law Firm, I had already worked with over 9,000 lawyers.
Wow.
And that's documented in Florida bar records, not just some number I pulled out of my ass to show off.
That's a lot.
On every starting, marketing, managing, buying, selling, growing, you name it, a law firm.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I saw a problem that I hadn't seen 100 times before.
So that kind of experience just sets you up so well to build the kind of company that you've built where you could do this and profit first, but helping people, but also making money. I think everybody agrees that's a fair exchange.
Yes, it was a very smooth transition from helping lawyers build successful law firms to then building my own very successful business where I didn't make a ton of mistakes. No, I'm being sarcastic, right? We launched How to Manage a Small Law Firm in 2008. I think we're on like the 7th or 8th iteration of tearing it down and rebuilding it, tearing it down and rebuilding it, tearing it down and rebuilding it. And one of the things that I try to do is I try to be very transparent with all of our members about our trials and tribulations and show them that wow, if I can do this, there's hope for all of them. Right.
Yeah. I mean, mistakes are only a gateway to, learning and improvement. And I talk about it openly too, that I've made a ton of mistakes in starting too many businesses, partnerships I shouldn't have gotten into, high overhead, getting into things that I didn't enjoy instead of focusing on what I do enjoy. So everybody's, I guess, it's what can we learn?
Well, the thing is, you got to have the courage to go through that gateway, which unfortunately a lot of people don't. And lawyers in particular have a real challenge with this because, and this is something that's really near and dear to my heart, because, you go to most bar functions, you talk to most law firm owners, and they don't like to admit all of the problems they've got. They don't like to admit all of the mistakes, right? And they would have you believe that everything's perfect. And this goes back to law school, because they teach us in law school that don't worry about the business of running a law firm. If you're a good enough lawyer, everything will take care of itself. And so the idea gets planted in the minds of most lawyers. And even though most of your listeners will instantly say that's idiotic, I don't think that way. Deep down, when you're by yourself, think about whether you actually kind of have this belief, rattling around in your head from way back when. And so the idea is, if I'm having a problem with the business of running my law firm, it might be because I'm not a good enough lawyer, right? And so when you go to a bar function and you say, I'm having a problem projecting the profits in my business 18 months from now so that I can make smarter, more confident, strategic hiring decisions, marketing decisions, signing a lease on an office, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what does financial projections have to do with being a good lawyer, right? If no one taught you how to manage the finances of a law firm, you're not going to know about the business managing of the finances of a law firm.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time recruiting great staff. I'm having a hard time getting my staff to perform at a high level. Well, if I admit that, it's the same thing as admitting that I'm just not a good enough lawyer. Because if I was a good enough lawyer, my staff would just magically read my mind. It's not how it works.
Right.
Right.
Right. Or they'd want to work under me because I'm so good that they're going to want to work under me and glean my knowledge, and they're going to be successful because of they're next to me.
The point I'm making is there's a real problem in the legal industry where there's a fear of asking for help. And there's a fear of acknowledging that you don't know what you don't know, because after all, what do they teach us in law school about asking questions you don't know the answer to? Good lawyers don't ask questions they don't know the answer to. Broke entrepreneurs don't either. Broke entrepreneurs and good lawyers don't ask questions they don't already know the answer to.
Yeah.
Bad lawyers and highly profitable entrepreneurs, we ask questions we don't know the answer to, because how else are you going to learn?
Yeah.
But there's a fear in the legal industry of doing that.
Right. Right. So so you've mentioned a few mistakes that they're not willing to mention, but what are some of the main mistakes that you see lawyers making to build a profitable law practice?
Oh, you're going to have me on for a couple of
This will be an extended version, folks. Going to go on for 4 hours today. We'll have to do it abbreviated fashion, I guess. Maybe we'll just stick with like the top couple.
You want to know a couple of the mistakes that prevent lawyers from having a more successful business than they could otherwise have?
Sure.
Number one, embracing the fact that it is a business.
Right.
It's a law firm. It's also a business. It is a business that is a law firm, right?
Like you can be in a noble profession and it's still a business.
Look,
they're not
the job of the lawyer,
yeah,
and the business of a law firm are two different things, right? The job of the chef at a restaurant is to cook amazing food. Yeah.
Yeah.
The job of the business of the restaurant is to market the food, sell the food, deliver the food, get paid for the food. The job of the lawyer is to perform legal services, protect people's rights, uphold the law, all that great stuff. And it is great. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I believe in that. I believe in what lawyers do. The business of a law firm, however, is to market legal services, sell legal services, deliver the legal services that you promised the client, and get paid. And if you're smart, you did some financial controls, some financial projections, you put a business plan in place, and you get paid more than it cost to deliver the services, and you make a profit.
Yep.
All right. So you asked that's one.
It's got to be seen as a business and run as a business. That's number one.
Without apologies.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to feel bad about it.
No.
Listen, if you want to help a lot of clients build a more successful law firm, if you're struggling to pay yourself, if you're struggling to hire an amazing staff, if you don't have the financial resources and enough profit in your firm to give that staff the training they need and the best tools and the best equipment that they need, and if you don't have the financial resources and the profitability to invest in a long-term, grown up, rational marketing plan, as opposed to what most lawyers do. And I know you know this all too well, where they turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off.
Yeah.
Hey, can you get me results tomorrow? Yeah. Had we started 6 months ago, I could be getting you results tomorrow.
Right.
Anyway, the point I'm making is if you don't run the law firm profitably, you end up doing a disservice to your clients. Because no one benefits when the owner of the law firm is struggling financially. There's a long list of people who are much, much worse off with your clients at the top of the list when you are struggling financially, because they expect you to show up as the best version of yourself that you can be. They expect your staff, your associates, your paralegals, your secretaries to show up as the best versions of themselves they can be. And no one can show up as the best version of themselves if they're struggling financially.
Yeah.
On top of which, if you don't have the financial resources and the processes and the systems and the procedures, the business infrastructure, you can't leverage less expensive talent to maximize the value for the client. Anyway, like I said, this is a whole other episode.
Yeah. But it's there's the book that you put out, Profit First for Lawyers. And in reviewing that, I would love to hear your definition of what is profit. How do you define it?
Profit is anytime you exchange something of a lower value to get something of a higher value. Profit is an unavoidable natural consequence of that exchange. Anytime you exchange something of a lower value to get something of a higher value, profit is created. You can't avoid it, right? Unfortunately, a lot of people think of profit only in financial terms.
Right.
But let's talk about we're both making a profit right now. Your listeners are making a profit right now, right? There's a million other things I could be doing right now with my time. There's a million other things you could be doing right now with your time. We have both determined, we might be wrong, but we both believe in this moment that being here and doing this right now is worth more to us than anything else we could otherwise be doing. Yes?
Yeah.
So we exchange the opportunity, we sacrifice the opportunity, we give up the opportunity. We are effectively paying for this with the opportunity cost of doing anything else we could be doing.
Right.
And we do that because we think because it's worth more to us. So we're making a profit by being here. That is the essence of profit.
So in this case, the profit to us is this conversation, which leads to video, audio, marketing, value to your audience, value to my audience, right? And building promotion between us.
Beginning to develop a relationship with you.
Yes, that's
a value to me as well. Beginning to develop a relationship, hopefully, with your audience. Maybe they'll download a resource from my website or something.
Mm-hmm.
We have a profit leak detector on our website. You can go and find to find all the profit leaks in your business.
Okay.
And maybe that will open up a relationship. Maybe that's going to be something of value to me. As you said, we'll take this recording, we'll chop it up, we'll use it for lead gen. Maybe I'll chop it up and do it and use it for some training for some of my staff. There's a whole bunch of things that could come out of this. The point I'm making is profit is the thing you hope or expect or plan to get in exchange for what you're giving up. Now, think about this for a minute. Never in the history of our species on this planet has there ever been a voluntary exchange between two able-minded human beings where they didn't both make a profit. Because if you didn't think you were going to get something that was worth more to you than what you were giving up, you wouldn't voluntarily engage in the exchange.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, you could be forced, you could be tricked, you could be defrauded, you could be manipulated, but then it's not voluntary.
Right. Could just be a bad decision. Like, Brett, I thought it was going to be one thing. Like, let's say I met with someone for networking to think we're going to cooperate, and the person hard sells me, insurance, or hard sells me something. That time is gone, and there was no profit. There was only pain in that moment. But maybe the profit is that I disqualify that person as someone I want to invest more time with. That could be a profit.
Look, at the risk of going on to another detour, the decision cannot be labeled a good decision or a bad decision based on how it turns out. That is a recipe for circular thinking, which will stagnate your business and drive you and your family crazy, right? The quality of the decision, this was a good decision or a bad decision, must be determined at the time the decision is made, not Monday morning quarterback
right
after you see how it turns out.
Yeah, and experience should dictate that, right? So I've met with a bunch of insurance people. I don't need to meet another one. I have my insurance. Like, that's not a meeting I need to necessarily take, and so I decide not to take it.
A good decision is a decision that is made with criteria. A good decision is a decision that is made thoughtfully. A good decision is a decision that's made with some level of analysis, an appropriate amount of research, an appropriate amount of investigation, an appropriate amount of due diligence. You take experience, training, education, professional advice, professional advisors, perhaps, and you apply it against a criteria, right? What is important to you in this situation, right?
Yep.
Against a strategic outcome you're trying to achieve. You make the decision. That's a good decision. Now, if luck goes against you, it doesn't work out the way you hoped it would work out, it was still a good decision. Luck just worked against you. A lot of people make bad decisions and luck works for them, and they mistakenly think they're going through life making good decisions, which is really setting them up for the major fall when luck eventually goes against them. But one of the things that you got to kind of keep in mind, and my business last year grossed over $30 million. And I know luck has something to do with it, right? I embrace that. I know that. Every successful entrepreneur benefited from some luck. Now, if you make good decision, good decision, good decision, good decision, good decision, you're putting yourself in a position to benefit when luck goes your way.
Yeah.
If you make bad decision, bad decision, bad decision, bad decision, you could still win because luck is just carrying the day for you. But when luck goes against you, bam, it's going to go bad fast, right? And we see law firms come crashing out of the sky because the owner is just making bad decision, bad decision, bad decision, bad decision. And it's like, look at me, I'm king of the universe, right? And then luck stops going their way and their whole law firm falls apart real fast. And like, how did this happen? Well, because you made a lot of bad decisions. Goes back to the quote at the beginning of the episode. Right. Sorry if I'm getting a little animated.
I mean, listen, I'm all for that, and everything you're saying. It's almost like you're more of a philosopher than you are a business guy, because I know there's a lot of philosophy in business, so it's like you're mixing them together in a nice little potion.
Well, look, how to manage a small law firm is fundamentally a personal development business for entrepreneurs. We are unapologetically, very clearly, very intentionally a personal development business for entrepreneurs. We happen to focus on a niche, which is law firms, because that's my background. Right. But it's all based on a set of values, a set of philosophies, and a point of view, which is really cool because you come to our live quarterly meetings. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of multi-million dollar law firm owners, and plenty of people who are just getting started also. And they're Black, they're white, they're Asian, they're Hispanic, they're gay, they're straight, they're old, they're young. It's like the most motley group of misfits come together. But we all resonate with a way of thinking about our relationship with our business and really our relationship with the world.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, that's where we're going to stop. And I'm definitely going to have you back on because we didn't get to, 20%. We only got to 20% of what I wanted to cover today. That's how this goes in a 30-minute show. But let's talk about your game-changing book real quick called, oh my God, what's it called?
Profit
Oh,
First for
no,
Lawyers.
the fear, was it the, all right, you want to talk about Profit First for lawyers?
My game-changing book. Which game-changing book are you talking
Well, I
about?
wrote down one and then I can't read my handwriting, but no, I have it right here. It's, let's see. Okay. Oh my God.
You want to
Oh,
edit
here
this
it
out?
is. Well, we had the four agreements, and of course, the word "for." I could not read the word "for," so yeah, the four agreements.
Oh, you said my book. I thought you were referring
Well,
to
I was gonna back into that because I couldn't read my handwriting, but
Okay, you want to start over?
yeah, we could do that. So let's just let me start that sentence over again. Let's just say, and let's go to our game changing book, RJon. And the one that you listed in your form here is called the Four Agreements. Can you talk a little bit about that one?
The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. And two other agreements that I'm blanking on at the moment. It's a great book. I mean, it will help you be a better entrepreneur. It will help you be a better employer. It'll help you be a better, dare I say, parent. It'll help you be a better spouse. I guarantee you it will help you be a better lawyer. Great book.
Yeah.
The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz.
Awesome. Check that out, everybody. And of course, want to thank our sponsors. We've got Rankings.io helping you with your SEO, pay-per-click, websites, everything you need to market your business online. And of course, I'm going to promote the RRT, Rainmakers Roundtable. If you're looking to get into a peer advisory group of Rainmakers, growth-oriented folks only need apply, go to Fretzin.com and check that out. And we will see if it's a good fit. RJon, thanks so much for coming on. And if people want to learn more about how to manage a small law firm, they want to hear more about you, what are the best ways for them to find you and reach out to you?
Well, we have had a waiting list for the better part of 2 years for new members. And so I'm not like trying to come on here with a hard sell. Really, we just share tons and tons of resources. We got all kinds of free programs, free training, free workshops, virtual free workshops, live free workshops, all kinds of free stuff. We pretty much just open up the vault and share stuff with people on the theory that we're not going to run out of stuff.
Right.
So, we give it to you for free. You try it out. You start to get some results. You see if you like it. Go to the website, howtomanage-a-small-law-firm.com. We also have a podcast based on the Profit First for Lawyers book. The podcast is Profit First for Lawyers. I'm not into creative names. I like names.
No, I'm picking up on that.
What makes more money?
There you go.
Just jump in, start taking advantage of all the resources, and you'll figure out pretty quickly if this is for you or not. And if it's for you, you'll matriculate into a conversation with someone from my team when the time is right. And if it's not, I'm happy to help you anyway, because life gives to the giver.
Yeah, and life's too short to be a greedy pig, right? Let's help everybody. Let's make this industry stronger, right? I mean, I have limitations like similar to you, and we can't work with everybody all the time. So, just putting out the podcast and the YouTube channel and the books and the articles and anything we can do to help people, right? I think you and I are on the same page with that.
Yeah. Why accept the invitation?
Well, there you go. Well, RJon, thanks so much, man. I do hope that there's more for us to continue to talk about, whether it's having you back or just figuring out some way to add value for each other and our businesses. But thank you so much. This has been great. And again, for those listening, a real treat to have RJon on and just talking a little bit about, what does it take to be successful as a lawyer today with all the crap going on in the world. So thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And thank you, everybody, for spending time today on the Be That Lawyer with Fretzin podcast, helping you to be that lawyer, confident, organized, and a skilled rainmaker. Take care, everybody. Be safe, be well. We will talk again soon.